Dr. Kim Colby, we are in the house. How are you today,
We,
sir?
we are in the house, and it's good to be in the house on another Friday. Football's kind of starting, maybe be part of our life this fall. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
My
And
Chiefs, my Chiefs won last night.
I like the
I
Chiefs.
was excited to see that.
You're kind of
They
a
looked well.
bandwagon guy, though.
Oh yeah, I'm bandwagon on everything.
So,
I mean, that's why I'm a
uh,
part of Awesome Marriage. I'm just part of the bandwagon until
yeah,
things.
just the old bandwagon. No, I watched a little bit of that game. It was good. I was watching a little bit of the Houston Rockets and LA Lakers,
Yeah,
and I'm always amazed at LeBron James, the
he's
physical
okay.
abilities that guy has, and that look he gets in his eyes when oh my gosh, he's getting ready to do something amazing, and he
Hmm.
does, and
You
it's
kind of
fun to
get that
watch.
same look. You get that same look in your eyes when you're about to do something amazing too. I've seen it. Like, oh, here he
Yeah,
comes, Dr. Kim.
yeah, but it's not the same things LeBron James does. Let me tell you, not even close. Golly, his I don't think I've got the biggest part of my leg that would equal one of his biceps.
Yeah,
He's a strong man
he is a specimen, as they say.
and
Absolutely.
seems to be, from what I hear, a really good dad. So
Yeah.
I love that. If somebody's a good dad, I can give a lot of grace to a lot of other things in their life.
Yes, and man, that's a great segue, Dr. Kim, into what we're talking about today, which is parenting to some degree, but just helping and knowing that we're not always great, but what our kids are seeing us doing, and not that I'm an expert in parenting by any stretch of the imagination. I do a lot of things poorly, but I am growing in the understanding that my kids are watching all the time. And just to speak that
Yeah,
about from a Christian faith, not just my kids, but just to think beyond that of like how what people are watching us. If you claim to be a Christian, people are watching you all the time too. So,
absolutely.
but our kids are watching, and what kind of example are we setting for our children on a day-to-day basis? And the first question I have for us and for our listeners is, what are what example are we setting for our kids spiritually? And just to preface that, and then I'll throw it over to you, is I truly believe that men, we are the leaders, spiritual leaders, leaders of our household, and there's a lot of biblical reasons for that and proof for that. And so, what I've seen a lot is in my life is a lot of men not really stepping up to the plate in that aspect of things, or letting other things happen. And kids
Yeah,
and wives are hungry for their husbands and their fathers to stand up and
to do that.
lead in that way. Would you what are your thoughts on
No,
that?
I do. I think so. And I think my gut is that most men know that's what they need to do and even probably want to some extent, but
Yeah.
it scares them or they don't know how to do it. I think the fact that a lot of us that are Christians, our wives are in Bible studies, and we feel like a lot of times our wives know more than we do. And so sometimes we get intimidated or we think we're
Intimidated.
going to screw it up or those kind of things. And I think for me, it's just realizing you don't have to be a pastor. You just, it's just your heart. And so just initiating praying with your family. And you can pray silently or out loud, doing a your version plan, talk, and encouraging your wife and kids, in that, asking your wife, she's been to Bible study, tell me what you learned today and interacting with her on it. Is there anything out of this we want to share with the kids, that would help them. And so I think just taking that role and just kind of letting God mold you into it. But don't let fear keep you from doing it. God will equip you to do it, and don't
Yeah.
compare yourself to anybody else. Your wife is going to be thrilled that you even took the first step. And I think there was a song that came out when my kids were little. It was a Phillips Craig and Dean song, and it was
Oh,
I want to be more like you, talking about Jesus, because he, my child, wants to be just like me. That song impacted me probably as much as a dad of anything. It made me think, what are they seeing every day? And if they're seeing me try to be more like Jesus every day, he's going to take care of the mistakes I made.
it's good. You're taking it old school, little Phillips, Craig, and Dean.
Yeah.
Next, bringing out some Michael W. Smith. Holy
Well, I'm not
smokes.
going that far.
Some Carmen. Man, I could go all day. That's stuff I had to
Yeah.
listen to growing up. No, not all of it's bad, but man, that takes me back, Dr. Kim.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, that's so it's so good because they are watching. Ephesians 6:4 says, "Fathers, do not exasperate your children; instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord." And so we do
Yeah.
have a responsibility as fathers to sit there and say, "Hey, these are gifts that God has given us. We may not always think that they're gifts, but they are gifts that we have the
Exactly.
privilege." And I don't think I always look at it that way of that they're a privilege. In fact, I was taking them. We were going on a trip. I was taking them to my parents' house, and of course, get in the car. All of a sudden, halfway there, they all have to go to the bathroom, and
Of
so
course.
we pulled over on the side of the road because that was an emergency, and the boys can handle it, and so they all pile out, and they're all on the side of the road peeing in like a ditch area as cars are going by honking and stuff like that, and so those are times as I look back and say, man, that was not the most fun experience, and I have to teach them different things, but man, what a privilege and an honor to say, hey, I get an opportunity to do this and to work
Yeah,
through it, and not perfect at it,
exactly.
but they
That's
are
fun.
they are watching, and how we interact with our spouses and how we're spending time with Jesus. If you're not taking time every day, and I'd encourage you to do that, to definitely spend time. But you said
Yep.
something about, there is that fear. There's like, I just don't know enough. There's some great resources where you can put something on the TV and the kids can watch it, and you can lead that from that aspect of things. And all you have to do is just have them watch that, and then you can ask them questions from that, which is another um, easy thing to do if you don't feel comfortable leading in that way yet, and you're working through those baby steps,
Sure.
like you said.
There's a
Um,
children's Bible app that
yeah.
Life Church did that has some great way to talk about Bible stories and stuff. And so there's a lot of tools out there that you can use.
Absolutely. And when it comes to raising our children and being better fathers, and understand that, one thing that I know that I do a lot, and I have to, man, I work on so much parenting wise, but it's how am I encouraging my children, or am I discouraging them? Like,
Hmm.
looking at them and say, you idiot. I want to say this in my mind, like, you idiot. What were you thinking? You don't do this. One of my sons pushed his 2-year-old brother off of a uh, uh, pool diving board. And I look at him like, I brought him over. I was like, why do you think that's a good idea? You are 10. He's 2. You can't just push him like you can your other brothers. But then I don't do the same thing of saying, oh man, I saw you do this the other day. That's incredible. It's always I have a tendency to be more discouraging, more negative, and then
Yeah.
encouraging my children. And that's they need to hear more positive than they need the negative.
Absolutely. And I think it's easy to get into some of those negative patterns. And I think that's great you brought that up because I think we're all vulnerable to that and how much our kids need our affirmation,
Yeah.
our encouragement, and just your words. When I talk to kids in counseling and stuff like that, this amazes me the impact that their parents have on them. And sometimes something a parent will say that they didn't mean it in a bad way, but the kid took it in a bad way.
Yeah.
And just made a huge impact on the kid. So I mean, our kids are always watching. They're always looking. We are their role models. I mean, we are the role model for, for your boys to be a man, to be a husband, to be a father, all those kind of things, and to your, our wives or to our daughters, and then us as the way our daughters relate to us is a lot how they relate to men and
Hmm.
and guys when they begin dating. So there's a lot of responsibility there, but it's also one of those things that God will equip us for and help us with if we just turn to Him, pray about it.
Good. Absolutely. One thing that I've been, just to give you guys hey, this is something that you can try at home that I've been working on when it comes to encouraging or helping my kids, my sons and my daughter, understand who they are, and what I see them is I've given them all names. So, for example, Colton is my oldest son, and his name is Colton the Courageous. So I will look at him and say, "Man, you are courageous. You're big."
That's
Adeline,
cute.
this is not I stole it from other people that have done it. Adeline's my daughter, and I say, Adeline is strong, and she's strong. So little things that you can do to encourage your kids to look at themselves differently, and not always feeling discouraging, or having to do that. But there's some good ways that you can do that on a regular basis, day to day, that don't require a whole lot of effort or
I
thought
love
in it.
that. That is so good. And then
Yeah,
it's a reminder to you and an encouragement to them is
it
basically
is.
what it is. It helps the way you frame and look at them. I love that because a lot of it is just rethinking, just
Yeah.
refocusing, being more intentional about the positive than the negative. And I think what you'll see is the difference there was a study that was done, it's probably been 10, 15 years now. I can't remember who did it, but basically, parents that were having trouble with their kids, and all they had them do was say one positive thing to their kids every
Mm,
day,
mm,
and try to not say the negative things. Every kid in that program in 30 days had totally turned around. And
mm.
and I think it just showed me the power of our words, and when we focus on the positive, the difference it can make in our kids. They can be different kids.
Yeah, they can, and
Yeah.
that even goes for some of those listening to their grandparents. And you have
Yeah.
grandkids as well, and you've seen the impact on that. And you guys
Yep.
have great kids and great grandkids, and it's a demonstration example of how you've loved on them and encouraged them. Not you're perfect, nobody's
No.
perfect, but
No.
there's been work to go into it. And as much as you work in anything else in your life, parenting your marriage should be one of the top priorities in everything
Absolutely.
that you're going through.
Absolutely. Can I ask
Absolutely
you one,
important.
one kind of personal question?
Uh-huh.
What's Amanda's name for you?
Depends on the day and what I've done.
Yeah, me too.
I probably can't repeat it right now, but
Today's not a good day, in other words. So,
yeah,
but you
no,
have
but
plenty of time to redeem it.
I do all the time, and depending on if I've done good or bad, that changes my name and what it
Yes.
is. But uh, uh, she's put up with me now for 14 years, so she's she's
I
still likes me no matter what. Loves
I
me, I
thought you were
guess.
gonna say like Colby the stud or Colby,
Yeah,
something like that. Is probably what she calls you.
no, that is I call myself that a lot of times, just and she doesn't think that's funny. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just depends. But yeah, she's got like love muffin and my little teddy bear Pookie, things like
Okay.
that she likes to call me.
Aren't we out of time?
Yeah, no, I think that's the time there. Hey, you know what? It's been a treat, Dr. Kim. Thanks for all of you who guys are listening. If you
Yeah.
haven't got the chance to tune in to a Better Man podcast yet, we just released our last yesterday. We just released our
Yep.
newest episode over anger, and I think that's something that we all have the opportunity to work through as well in aspects of that. So please check it out. We'd enjoy that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's
Um,
questions you can interact on or interact with a buddy or small group on. But this is something I think as guys we deal with, and so love to have you guys listen and or watch it on YouTube and give us your feedback on it.
And speaking of feedback, one thing that you and I have been talking about is we would love feedback for what you're hearing and seeing, not only on this fit, but on the podcast, and maybe even ways that you guys can help us improve questions or something, a topic that you guys want us to cover. Like, man, I really want to know about this. Feel free to, as they say, slide into our DMs or message us or email us to do that because we truly want to continue to grow. We want to answer questions and talk about things that you guys want to listen to. So those are some things that we
Absolutely.
would ask you to do as well. But that's all I've got. So, Dr. Kim, like we say every week, don't be an okay man.
Be a better man.
That's right. You have a great rest of your week.
Have a good weekend, guys.
See y'all.